Hello, welcome to the Smalls Talk podcast. I am your host, Tiffany Smalls, and joined by my husband and also co host,
Brandon,
and
and
we
we
are
are
the
the
Smalls.
Smalls. Join us each episode for a small talk about marriage, fitness, family, and life.
Well, today the topic of discussion will be, are gender roles still important? Well, before we get started, let me explain what gender roles are. Gender roles in society means how we expected to act, speak, dress, groom, and conduct ourselves based upon assigned sex. So again, I ask, are gender roles important in dating slash marriage? Brandon, what do you have to say about that?
That's a multi-layered question. In some ways, yes, gender roles are still important,
Okay.
but in a lot of ways, gender roles are not important. What about you?
Well, it depends on I think where you are. Like as Brandon explained before, some ways it is important and some ways it's not. It depends on how you look at it. Meaning by that is, like for example, back in the day, like our grandparents or if we have older parents, the women stayed in the house and took care of the kids and took care of the household while the men were out making money for their family, right? So they did the hard laboring, making the money for their families. So therefore, when you went out on a date, of course, the men were the head of the household. So they were taking their wives out to eat and doing all the hustling and bustling in that role. So how do you feel about that?
I agree.
Okay.
Back, 50s, 60s, um, the men did go out and they were the only ones that worked and they earned a living.
Okay.
So, of course, if a man asked a young woman out for a date, a lot of times the woman was still living at home with her father.
Okay.
So, he would pay for all the dates. When it came down to if they ended up getting married, he would pay all the bills. He would buy all the groceries, or at least provide the money to be able to buy the groceries. While the wife was at home, she kept the house, she watched the kids, she cooked primarily all of the meals. So in that regard, there were defined gender roles. But I think, as we've gotten into the 20th and the 21st century, we started seeing a lot more women becoming more independent, getting educations, out there getting jobs, even to the point where, depending on the field that you're in, the woman is making more money than what her mate may be making. So, the woman isn't at home anymore cooking and cleaning and, doing all the things that our mothers and grandmothers would have been doing in their day. And we're starting to see the rise of house husbands,
True.
men who stay at home and they're the ones that's doing the majority of the cooking and cleaning and child rearing and things of that nature. So, in that regard, no, gender roles don't matter.
True. And also, like Brandon was stating earlier, the roles have changed. But I was doing a couple of researches on the internet. Of course, I'm the research queen sometimes when I feel like it. And they said as well on the website, The Art of Charm stated that when a guy invite a girl out on a date, he is expected to pay, okay? So therefore, if I invite Brandon, I know in Brandon's head, he's saying that, well, she invited me, she's going to pay, right? So therefore, read on a couple other websites, they were saying that when you go on a date, a man is always expected to pay. But like Brandon was stating earlier, I think in these days and time, it changed. It depends on, again, where you are. So therefore, if I'm a female and I was dating a guy and I would offer to pay here and there, and that female was used, for example, right? She felt like every time we go, I got to pay. Therefore, when she meets someone else, she may say, well, this time he's going to pay for me and my kids. So he's going to pay for me every single time. So it depends on where you are. You may also have those women and myself. Like when I first went on a date in college, not my first date, but when me and a guy went out in college, I paid for the first date. I didn't mind. So people may judge me. I didn't mind because I can take care of myself. But now I wouldn't expect it to pay for the date every time we went out. I'm not saying that. It was just that my gesture was like, okay, cool. I can pay for the date this time. I'm cool with it. But now, every time, I'm not doing that. I don't know how you feel about that, but I'm not doing paying for a date every time that me and a guy go out. I expect him to at least offer and at least pay. I'm not saying maybe it can be 50-50 or maybe 75-25 or something, but I'm not paying every single time, especially if you ask me out and we get to the restaurant and you looking at me and I'm looking at you. Who gonna pay that bill? I'm not gonna pay it. I'll pay mine and leave. But so I'm just saying, what do you have to say, Brandon?
I agree with that. That's one of the things that my mom taught me when I was younger. You ask a girl out on a date, you're paying for the date. If a female asks you out on a date, at least be prepared to go 50-50. She may pay for the date, she may not pay for the date, but at least be prepared to do 50-50. Primarily I paid for most of the dates.
Okay.
But that's not to say that, the young lady that I was with didn't offer to pay or didn't just pay. There were times where they said, Brandon, I got it today. So.
True. And also doing research, I went to a website, elitesingles.com, and it said that 46% of women expected men to pay. Now, like I was talking to B earlier, I know some friends that on both spectrums, right? I know some girls that may say, well, every time we go out, he's going to pay for me, and not only me, but my kids, right? Not to judge. That's on you. It depends on you. I'm not judging anyone, but I know some girls like myself or women like myself that may be like, okay, I don't mind paying, give and take. You get what you get, right? And don't mind. But these days and time, again, the times have truly changed. Like Brandon was stating earlier, you have those females like myself. I consider myself a businesswoman. I go out there, I make my money. Now, does it matter in a household who makes more money? Which is another question as well. To me, it doesn't matter. If I make more money than my husband, I still consider my husband to be the head of the household. So when we go on a date, if he have it, okay, he have it. If he don't, he don't. But at the end of the day, we are married. Now, I'm just not out there dating, so it depends on how you look at the whole spectrum. So I don't know what you have to say about that, but it depends on how you look at it.
Even now, for those of y'all who don't know, my birthday just passed. Your boy just turned 39. And, my wife took me out to dinner. Actually, she took me out. Well, she took the family out on my actual birthday, and then me and her went out last night. And so, she paid, because it was my birthday. Now, today was a different story. It's not my birthday no more, so when we went to lunch, I paid. But, we don't necessarily, I might be in between paychecks.
True.
I get paid semi-monthly. My wife gets paid bi-weekly. So there are times when we're off weeks. If I, paid all the bills out of my paycheck, following week she gets paid and she says, hey, let's go out to eat, I might not have it. So she'll pay. And then, the next go round, it might be my payday. Okay, I got it today. Regardless of who did the initiating, if one of us has it and we want to go out to eat, then we're going to make sure that it's taken care of and not well, Brandon, you're the man, so you're going to pay every single time. Because I may not always have it.
So in this household, we look at it, what his is mine and what mine is his. Not what his is mine and what mine is mine. So we don't look at it like that. And we also don't keep count. What I mean by that is, well, Brandon, I took you out last time. You take me out this time.
Right.
I guess we've been in an established relationship now. I knew Brandon since 2005. So we've been married now for 11 years. So with that being said, we have established our relationship. And I'm going to tell you all, what works in our household might not work for yours. We have established that relationship, our friendship, our marriage. So we're to that point in our life that, like we just said, if I ask him to go out, okay, I got it. If he asks me, he got it. Or vice versa. We might just go and get to the restaurant. I got it. Let's just pay for it. My thing is just having a good time, enjoying my spouse while I can, and just move on. But at the end of the day, the question is again to you, what matters to you all? Does gender roles still matter in a relationship? Are you willing to be that type of woman or man that always pay? Are you willing to be that type of woman that always wants somebody to pay for you? Or do you have to prove a point when you go out? Just say that, okay, I don't need a man. I can pay for myself. So only thing I can suggest is that when you're going out, make it known. What I mean by make it known, when you're going out with someone, you can offer to pay. There's nothing wrong with that. But don't put yourself out there that every time you go, you got to pay on a date. and you looking at this man sideways like he never offered. Well, you put it out there like you always have it, and you want to be Billy Bad Boy. So at the same time, some men are going to take that and use that and run with it. Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, just be mindful of what you say and what you do. What you have to say, Brandon?
And I think gender roles go further than just paying on a date.
True.
You know, we look at just common household chores. Again, you know, in the 50s and 60s and prior to that, you know, the women stayed at home. So they did all of the house, at least the indoor chores. The man, he went out and worked. If he had a yard, he was the one maintaining the yard, maintaining the cars, things of that nature. That's not always the case today, because while I'm out there working, my wife is out there working as well. So I can't always expect to come home to a hot cooked meal that was cooked by her, because that same 9 to 5 that I was out the house, she was out the house. You know, I can't expect, you know, for the dishes to be cleaned by her every night. You know, it's a lot of give and take. Now, yeah, there are some things that I don't, you know, necessarily expect her to do. I don't expect her to cut the grass, for instance, wash the cars, you know, change the oil, you know, a lot of the outdoor stuff. But at the same time, those aren't everyday chores. I'm not washing the car every day.
True.
You know, I'm not cutting the grass every day. I cut it every week, or at least I try to cut it every week, but I'm not doing that every day. A lot of the other chores are daily stuff. We eat every day, so therefore there's dishes.
True.
We wear clothes every day. That means there's laundry. And with, you know, 2 kids, and as much as we work out, laundry piles up really, really fast around here. So,
it does.
You know, I can't get by doing laundry once a week. You know, I can't, both of us sleep in the bed, so I can't expect her to make up the bed every day when both of us sleep in the bed. So, you know, I think more now, you know, it should be common practice for the man to chip in a little bit more around the house, especially if both parties are working outside the home.
And that's true. And like to piggyback on what Brandon said before y'all say something smart. No, I do not cut the grass, but I will get out there and I will mulch the yard. I will pick up weeds. I will do the flowers. I do not mind. Like for me, I'm gonna be honest. I haven't washed clothes in a very, very, very long time. That's something that Brandon liked to do, so I let Brandon do it. I'll wash dishes. I don't mind, right? Even though we have a dishwasher, he like to put stuff in the dishwasher. Mm-hmm. Of course, I will wash dishes, hand wash dishes, born and raised. Don't mind at all. But at the end of the day, certain things he likes to do and I like to do. But like he's saying, you have to be mindful of just helping out. When you see someone that's falling behind, or if your wife is tired, or if your husband is tired, you know, do you mind me helping out or whatever? Now, I will wash my own car, but I have not cut the grass at all since he's been here. I don't know if I ever cut the grass before in my life, to be honest. I'm just going to be honest.
Not with me.
Never with Brandon. I don't remember at home as well. My father probably can say I have raked the yard, but I have never really cut the grass. Now, I will get out in my yard and I will blow out my driveway. It's certain things I will do because I don't mind. So don't think that your girl don't get her hands dirty. I do. But certain things I'm just not going to do. I'm just not going to do. So anything you have to add, Brandon?
I think we're good. I mean, fellas, you know, make sure that you do your part. You know, you can't expect to live in the 1950s, 1960s, or whatever, when your spouse, your mate isn't there anymore. You know, if you're not going out there being the sole breadwinner, you can't expect your wife to sit at home and, you know, make sure that food is prepared, the house is clean, the kids are tended to. You know, you got to get out there and you got to do your part.
And for women, sometimes we have to learn how to give and take. Don't always assume that he's always going to pay. Don't always assume that he have it. Be mindful. Offer some time to assist as well. Like he was saying, women, just offer some time to assist. Just know that some days that your spouse or just significant other can have a bad day. He might need your help. Just know that sometimes that he may not have it. And what I mean by that is some men are so prideful that they don't have it, they won't tell you, right? So just be mindful sometime of your actions, mindful of how you treat that significant other, that someone. You know, just share. You know, and if you really want to be with this person, sometimes it's better to talk it out, like what you're expecting out of a relationship, what you're expecting
Right.
when you go out on a date. We're getting to the point these days and time that we assume. Don't assume. Just talk about it and be real and be open. And therefore, I think things will work itself out if you're open and you're true to who you really are. Not trying to be someone that you're not to get something that you really want. So at the end of the day, just be mindful, be truthful, and be you. That's all I have to say, Brandon.
Well, until the next episode, we're the Smalls.
We are the Smalls. Have a good one.